Hi friends. Hello and welcome to the basement. Hopefully we have good sound, we have good camera angles, and what?
I bet they'll let us know if we don't.
Absolutely, and we are going to get on it today. Last week, we really spent some time working through a process of putting a paint or getting this ready for a paint inlay and painting it so that we could do that whole like IOD copycat dresser. And so this week we're doing part 2. What you can see last week we have done here. The molds are dry. We've got some paint, more paint on here, and I'm going to be talking you through now the technical part of getting this inlay onto this dresser and how I'm going to create a pattern. So let us know if you're here. We are way up in Medina, New York, in Western New York, near Lake Ontario. I'm Lynn. Megan is with me here, and we love our little community. So we're so glad you're here. Say hello, and we'll get this project going.
We also spent a lot of time last week talking about candy, and if anybody has any follow-up questions about that, please sound off in the comments.
You're bad.
This is part 2 of Candy Chat.
No, who do we have here today?
We've got Shannon, Jan, Judy, Sandy, Patty, another Sandy with a Y, Linda, and Jacqueline.
Hello friends and welcome. As you pop on, please say hello. Don't forget that if you're here with us today and you don't already follow us here on YouTube or subscribe, we would love for you to do that. And
please, if you can't buy products from us, we totally get it, or maybe you have your own local stockist, but one thing that is totally free is to like and
pressing
subscribe.
that like
really
button.
Have no idea. It helps us so much.
It does. And we also have a nice following over on Facebook where we do live tutorials twice a week over on Facebook, Mondays and Fridays at this same time. And we also have a pretty active following over on Instagram. So you can find us doing something different in each of those places. And so with that, let's jump right into this. Well, last week we prepped all of this, and I had a caveat to the mold thing when I was applying these. And if you remember, I said this may change, and it may change dramatically. And it did, because I was literally working through a process with you, and you were right along with me when I was figuring out some of the paint colors, how I wanted my pattern to be. And you may remember that I had this kind of as an arch right here. And after I looked at it for a while, the next day I'm like, no, that's got to change. And so I scraped off these molds here, and then I reapplied them. I kind of drew out a pattern here and reapplied them on each side, and then I gave them a coat of pink paint. There were questions last week about what color are you going to paint the molds. I don't know. I just know that this is going to be layers and layers of paint, and it's going to have a lot of texture, and it's one of those things that sometimes I cannot decide that until I'm ready to paint them. So please forgive me if that's not a good answer for you, but it's just how I work, and it is what it is. So, and it's how my crazy mind works. So what I've done is I have already in advance, I have laid out my inlays to match them up, and I'm going to show you those in a minute. But you know these sheets that come between them, I never throw these away because I love using these for paper patterns. I use them for journaling. They're just great little sheets. So what I decided is that I was going to save 2 of these out, and I taped them together so that I could create a paper pattern here. So I'm going to tape that on quickly, then I'll move the table away while I make that pattern.
Tanya, we are using the same boom mic that will use every week. I'm glad it's sounding especially good.
Oh, good. Okay, so I'm lining this right up at the top of this drawer. And I'm going to tape it in place. And then I'm going to kind of do like a little grave rubbing. Well, not exactly, but there's a couple ways that you can do this. You could just rub over this, right, and make your pattern, and then just cut slightly inside of it. You could also, you know, press that paper in and make your pattern right around that mold. Now this is where it's going to get a little tricky because I've got so many little bits going on there. I'm going to move this aside like I said I was going to. So we'll come back to that in a second. Now the other thing you can do is you can just take your thumbnail. I'm going to do it both ways, and I'm just kind of, because this paper is so thin, it's a little heavier than tissue paper. But you can kind of cut right through it with your thumbnail. This is really the only piece that I'm concerned about making a pattern for, is that top piece. So I'm going to continue to use my thumbnail and kind of work around this just a little bit. It's important to get the right shape, but if you can't get it perfectly, it's okay, because there's so much pattern going on here. Okay, so now let's take this off. All right, and we're going to bring it right over here. Megan, can you just tip that down?
So you want to be able to see the pattern, and then you want me to hold it? Just hold it
No,
down, or
no,
leave it
all you
down?
got to, yeah, you can just leave
Well,
it down.
I didn't know how soon you were going there.
Yeah, because I'm going to then lay out the paper. And then we'll be going back to the
Bear with me
dresser.
for just a second.
No.
Try to make it smooth as can be.
Smooth as can be. Okay, friends, so here I go. I am going to grab my scissors. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to cut this part out. But you can see, you can do it either way. Again, it's not like, I'm not worried about making like, you know, like a laser precision pattern here. Okay, and so there's the pattern for the top of my dresser.
I really love the way the molds turned out, Mom.
Thank you, and I also added to those a little bit.
Yeah, I really like that.
You might want to tip up just for a second, because I don't know if they can see
You
that.
can see back there enough.
Oh, good.
If you're
Okay.
gonna be there for a while.
Yeah, so basically I'm just holding this up to make sure that my pattern is good and make any adjustments where I need to. But I think it looks good. I hope everybody's having a fantastic week.
Sun's shining there.
It is. Every time when the sun shines,
Oh,
it
no.
means spring is coming.
Michelle says she can't hear me. I'm getting conflicting reports here. That the sound is great and that the sound is not.
Well, you might
really just need
you
to
might
come
need to just scoot your chair forward just a little bit. You could. Nope. Megan's like, nope.
I mean, I could maybe go 6 inches forward. Instead of
I know,
this.
right? So this is the inlay that we're going to be using. This is IOD's paint inlay Rose Chintz. And we talked a little bit last week about why this is such a great inlay for a beginner. It's because there's so much pattern. And yes, you can use it as an overall print on a large scale, but you can also use each of these pages individually on smaller projects, from coasters to Lazy Susans to toolboxes to whatever you dream up. So on the back of the inlay sheet, it shows you 8 different sheets and how they match up. Now, I would never expect you to look at each of those little images and use that as a guide for lining these up. It's much easier to just lay them out on a large flat surface so that you can see exactly where they match up. Now, what I have done ahead of time is I have trimmed off the outside edge of each of these sheets. We have a large paper cutter, and I used that this time. I stacked up 3 of them, 4 of them, and then I just held them in place, and I used a large paper cutter to trim the edges back.
How efficient of you.
Very efficient. So I have 3 of them put together here right now. I'm going to hold this up, and let's see if we need any more. So I'm just going to get a rough, and I don't. Look at that. I don't. So 3 of these, and then I'm going to have all kinds of stuff left over. So let's come back here, and before we lay our pattern on here, what I want to do is flip this over and get everything lined up just perfectly. So what I did as I was laying these out so that I had my eyes really on this is I just stuck little pieces of blue tape here and there. Now I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to straighten up my edges and match them up really nicely and tape on the other side. Then I'll come back and remove this tape. So let's flip it over. I just find it so much easier when I'm looking at the actual design instead of looking through the back of the carrier sheet. But now what I want to do is I'm just going to kind of lift this a little bit. And you may have a different way of doing this. I don't know, but this is what I do. And then I line it up, and usually the pattern lines up pretty easily using those grid lines.
Especially with this particular one, I feel like it's hard to mess this one up.
It really is. There's so much pattern going on, and we're even going to age it and distress it a little bit more. Whew, I think I'm having a hot flash.
Do you still get those?
Well, apparently. I didn't know I did.
You still got it.
Still got it, Mia.
So I don't know if I can move forward a little bit so I can tell this story, but some of you might have been here for Fun Friday when I had the sound machine going, and there is can you do the whistle, Mom? So that's one of the sounds on it. I was in the parking lot. I get here every morning at like 7:30, and there's like nobody out in that parking lot. Nobody's here. And I got out of the car, and I heard someone catcalling me like that. And I was like, what? I'm looking around like
wow.
Like, who, me? And I'm like, it's gotta be me. I don't even have any makeup on. And then I heard it again. And I was like, oh my gosh, where are you? Whoever is doing that. And then I realized I had the sound machine in my bag. And it was just bumping against my side, whistling at me. But I was feeling pretty good for a minute.
And you should. And you should. Okay. I gotta tell you, another thing to use on this is washi tape. If you have washi tape, because it peels right off so easily. I did that on my last inlay project, and I didn't think to pull any down here.
Hi, Sandy.
But I do like to work with these all in one if I can. Okay? And so let's get the next batch up here.
All this prep is going to make for such an easy application.
I hope so, Megan.
It
I
will.
do. Yeah, I mean, you
That's
know,
the point of it.
you know what they say, 90% of a beautiful project is, or any project, is in the preparation.
That goes for your face.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're putting makeup on, the skincare, if your skincare is good, your makeup's gonna look even better.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that applies to.
So let us know in the comments. I know that there are some of you that have not taken that journey into inlays yet. And I want to know why. Let's see if we can answer any questions about them today. And I want you to be like up front with me, straight up. Like why or why not?
Here's an interesting tidbit.
Okay.
We call it a cat call, and in Australia they call it a wolf whistle.
I've heard of that as well.
I have not.
Yes, we certainly have used that here in the U.S.
No, we have not.
Yes, we have. It's an old.
It's certainly not common.
No. The cat call is here. Kitty, 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 kitty.
Cat calling is like what you see construction workers doing in movies and cartoons and
Yeah.
whistling.
What about Whistling Dixie?
That's whistling Dixie. It's a whole different kind of whistle.
Okay. So yes, this seems like a lot of work, but in a way it's like I'm checking and double checking my lineup here, and it's all going to be worth it. Like Megan said, it makes for an easier application. And I don't mind if I overlap these just a smidge.
Okay. Sandy's heard wolf whistle too.
Yeah, yeah.
And she said, a different Sandy says, I did a page for my junk journal using a small bit of this inlay on a teal background, and it's so pretty.
Yes, how did that feel? Was that the first time that you used an inlay?
Sandy Roberts.
Sandy Roberts, was it the first time you have used an inlay? Please tell us.
Wendy says, I did finally buy an inlay last week. They've been really expensive, but the new one was less and also has lots of small pieces to practice with.
Yes, I know for me, I did reduce the price on these a little bit just to really encourage and hopefully get people to jump on board. I don't think they're going anywhere. I think inlays are here to stay.
Wow, I have never heard wolf whistle before today. This is crazy.
Wow, Megan. I wonder when your grandma was here if she would have said cat call or wolf whistle.
In Oklahoma, it's more commonly known as a wolf whistle.
All right, so here we go. I'm going to give this just a little extra bit right here. I'm going to make sure that if I am overlapping anywhere, I am overlapping consistently across the entire sheet.
Have you ever had the cinnamon rolls from the coffee cup?
No.
They're the softest ones I've ever had.
Really?
I'll have to get some one day for us.
Nice. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to put a little tape here again, and let's flip this over and take a look.
Sherry has a question.
Sure.
She says, can you use the paint and lay over milk paint so that it chips along with the milk paint?
Certainly. I would say give it a try.
Kate says she's nervous for timing on the inlay, not knowing when to pull up.
Okay, well, if you are using chalk paint, Kate, then you can let this sit for 2 days if you need to. If you are using a clear medium, which you've seen some of us do, then you do have to kind of keep track of what your, oh my gosh, I should have cleaned that off. Jeepers creepers. I swear, it's like somebody came in through the back door. Stepped all over this thing. Okay, so let's look at it again. And here we go. Everything looks good to me. And you know what? If it's not perfect, you guys, it's okay. Allow yourself, give yourself the grace to not be a perfectionist with this. they kind of do have a really organic quality to them, and that's what we like. If you want perfect, you use a transfer, right? Okay, so I know that this is going to go here like this. So what I want to do is I want to take my pattern that I made and I want to lay it up here on the top.
Tanya said maybe it should be called the toxic masculinity whistle. Yes.
Right. And I want to save as much of this as I can. So I'm going to scooch this right over to the edge and I'm going to give myself just a little bit of wiggle room because, you know, you never know. You just never know. And I'm going to kind of trim that to match that. Okay, because I will make any adjustments after I get it up on here too.
How is the decoupage seat cushion holding up? Does it get satin often? No, it's covered in plastic and it hasn't been picked up yet.
It has not been
But it
picked
will
up
be
yet.
great.
It's going to be great. Now this might be off just a little because, let me check this again. Oh, it's looking good. Okay.
The paint she's using today is DIY Apothecary, right? Will be
Mhm.
the background for this.
And I used Petticoat Pink. And I used White Swan. We are going to be using all three colors today to create kind of a little mottled effect in the background. And I just want to trim up the side here. And I will put this aside because these are great for doing little backgrounds, putting molds over them, or they're great for doing backgrounds and then applying a transfer over them. Okay. And then we're going to go up here.
Michelle says, I had a go at an advanced inlay technique the other day. I did inlay over inlay. It was an experiment. I did it on a tray. Melange artichokes over third use chateau.
Very nice. Oh, Michelle,
Oh,
that
we gotta
sounds
try that.
fascinating.
By we, I mean Mom.
Right. Yes, we do. Okay, let's get this on here. If you want to layer over an inlay, either with another inlay or with paint, like I did on the Gypsy Queen, or oops, the Queen of the Nile, I did kind of some watercolor over her when I finished. Or if you want to do inlay over inlay or put a transfer over an inlay, you would seal it first. You would seal your inlay completely and then let it dry, and then go ahead and apply your second medium over that. Of course, I should have taped this down, right?
All that prep just to not tape down that.
I know, right? I'm such a loser.
Oh, that's funny. Because it's truly just like that one thing that can just mess it all.
Oh, I know, right?
But again, the inlay, you can really fix boo-boos pretty easily. If your
You really
pattern
can.
was off a little bit, all
You
those little
really
scraps that
can.
you're cutting can be used to zip.
Yep. Okay, so now I have, and this should, fingers crossed, should fit up in here, and if it doesn't, we'll just make adjustments, that's all.
Okay, so let's turn the camera back, pop it back up, you think?
Yeah. I'm going to need my little rolly stool, I think. Because I sure don't want to bend down.
I think I'm going to move this a bit closer, okay, Mom?
Sure.
I guess I could have just zoomed. Okay.
And here we go.
Tim asks, shouldn't you center it on the inlay?
What do you mean, center?
I don't know.
This is an overall pattern, so it doesn't matter.
So yeah, in this case, yes. If it was a different one, then yes, of course.
So this is good.
Sandra says, I watched the Tim Holtz new release the other day. Lynn needs to be one of the makers. I love your project.
Oh, that's so sweet. Wasn't that fantastic? Oh my gosh.
So Michelle says she did the chateau embedded in paint, sealed, then, is it melange? Is that how you say
Melange,
it?
yep.
Melange, infusion, decoupage medium. How cool. I think
That's pretty
looks really
cool.
cool.
I really, I mean, way back from the beginning when I did that one, it was Morocco on that beautiful orange dresser. I want to make this almost like a little hinge in a way, because I'll be lifting this right up. If I get a little bit on my trim, it doesn't matter because I'm going to be painting over it anyway. And that kind of lines right up along there. I got just a little bit of, I think I want to pop that up just a touch. Okay. I think that's good. Again, I'm a little off here, but I'm not worried about it. I'm just not worried because you're going to see, it's such an overall pattern that you are not going to be able to tell where one little leaf is cut off. When you look at this and I get hardware on it and all of that and do some waxing and a little bit of modeling and all of that stuff. So, okay.
Here we go.
Here we go. Now, what is different about how I am prepping the paint on this is I am going to be applying this inlay into wet, kind of blended paint, all right? So, I am going to grab my paints, and I'm wondering if I should lay that down.
I mean, you can see it really nicely.
You can.
But it's up to you how comfortable you feel.
Okay, yeah, we'll try it like
Painting
this.
like
If
that.
I feel like I have to, I
Then
mean,
we
I
will.
always paint like this anyway, so.
Yeah, just let me know.
Okay, so I'm gonna get my paints out. I have Apothecary with one brush.
A little table or stool to put
Yeah,
this
I
on?
do.
Oh, put
Yeah,
this.
thank you. And then I've got my white swan. I'm gonna get all my little materials out here so that you can see what I'm gonna use.
So you have 2 steps.
Okay. I always get nervous at this part, you guys, but then I remember that I'm doing this, so if I make a mistake, I want you to see that I'm not going to stress out about it. Okay, so let me get my paint up here. This is water and in here, and
Liz would like to know 2 different questions. Will
Okay.
you paint, blend, and wet with mister, then lay down the inlay?
well, let's watch, Liz. Okay.
And also, is it possible to have too much water for an inlay to work?
Yes. Yeah, it would get kind of runny. All right. So, here we go. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how I did this. Normally, So what I want to do first, I'm just going to work kind of a section at a time here. And I'm going to start with the Apothecary, and I'm going right up next to it. It's okay if I get some on here. That's fine, because I'll be painting over it, and as I distress it back, it'll be kind of neat to see some of the other color on here. And we are going to go work this. And this is kind of fast blending. If I was doing like a really, really special blending job, I would do that, and then I would apply my inlay into, I would let it dry, I'd seal it, and then apply the inlay into liquid patina. That's what I want to say. Okay, and then I'm going to add some white here, because I referenced the picture on the IOD dresser, and it had that on it. Where's my pink? Right there. And I've got a few different brushes that I'm using, so I don't mix up my colors too much. But let's just put a little streak of pink here, and it's okay if I have some.
Gosh, that pink is pretty.
Isn't that the prettiest thing? I think I'm going to go ahead and do both of these drawers at once. And let me get...
Michelle said, what's the trickiest, most challenging process I can film live?
I know. Well, you know, I'm not afraid of anything, you guys.
That ain't true. You're afraid of bees.
I am. But when it comes to this stuff, I'm not. I mean, I don't mind. I kind of like that you guys can see what's happening, and that I experience the same things that you do. I mess up. I am not an expert. Every project tells a different story, and we're just here to like work it all out together. I just want to make sure that my paint is nice and wet. I don't want it drying before I come in to
I'm worried about where you put that white.
Don't worry. It's going to be fine. It really is. Don't you worry about a thing.
I just don't think it's that wet right there. Okay.
But you'll see in a minute how it's all going to come together. Oops, I've got a drip. It's okay. Okay, so I just have a damp cloth here, and I'm kind of scrunching it up almost like a little rag. Remember the old days of rag painting? And I just want to kind of blend these areas in so they're not quite so prominent, but that they look a little bit, oh, almost like chippy. See that? And kind of scooching. That might need a little bit more there. So I'm just going to throw some white on there. All of my colors are going to kind of blend in little bands across here. That's nice and wet. So you do have to work quickly with this, but the good thing about working quickly is that you don't have time to think too much, and it gives it a much more random and a more organic kind of feel to it.
Oh no. Text notifications, Stephanie? So
What?
she didn't get her notifications the past 2 times.
Oh no, Stephanie.
Maybe try signing up again. That's funny. Not funny, haha.
No, I thought I did send it out.
No, you did. I got it.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so just to be sure that this is all nice and wet, I'm going to do a very light mist with our Mr. Mister. I don't want it dripping, but I do want it to I just want to assure that it's wet. And then I'm going to come down, all right, and I'm going to start pressing this into place.
She's not signed up for the text. That's why she didn't get it.
Oh, well,
so I'm
there
going to
you
put
go.
the phone number for anybody here who's not signed up for our text. It's very helpful. I'm going to put the phone number in the comments. You can just text the word hi and then follow the instructions that come after that.
Okay, now right here, we've got that little, we're going to go under the drawer here. Okay, so I'm going to kind of crease that under. Actually, I'm going to wet this a little bit too, just to make sure that I can wiggle this down in here, because I've not only got,
Hey Mom,
yeah,
do we post our phone number, our text number in the description, like where we put
yes,
all the
it's
links?
always in
Okay.
the description
That's
down
good to
below.
know. We should remind everybody at the end every time. We don't send a ton of texts, but they're very nice to let you know when we're going live on Facebook or here, or let's say you're watching us do something and we don't do the finished project completely in the video. Mom will send a picture of that when it's done.
Yeah, and
It's just
sometimes,
nice.
sometimes you even get like grandbaby pictures or what I'm working on at home. I try to be very mindful of how many texts I send.
10 to 15 a day.
Stop
max.
it! Don't even say that.
Just kidding.
So I'm using my cloth here. I'm kind of wetting. I want to wet this and use the mist because I do want to. I want to make sure that I can work this up into.
Remember when Josie showed us the inlays for the first time?
I remember. I was
It
out
was
in
this inlay?
California. Yeah, it was. I was so excited.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. She was so excited.
She was very excited.
Lots of good feedback about our texts. Good.
Good. Thank you. And if you ever don't want to receive them, you just
Put us on do not disturb.
yeah, or you just put
Stop.
stop. Yeah. I don't want to be annoying to anybody.
I wouldn't go that.
Only to my kids. Okay. So now we're going to continue. This is I'm just going to make sure that this is still wet, so it's already starting to release here.
Thank you, Stephanie.
And you can see, like, I love it when I get like a wrinkle or something in the Debbie's DIY. To me, it just makes it that much more like textury, and I love that effect.
Vintage green and pink are beautiful together, that's for sure.
They really are. They're just classic, aren't they? So I'm gonna spray this. And you can see that I have some wrinkles here. Do I look totally stressed out? No, not at all. It's all okay. I'm gonna take my brayer. This is okay right now as it is because it's dry under here.
So it's not going to stick.
It's not going to stick. But I do want to take my brayer and I really want to press this into place.
So pretty already.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah. I get so excited.
I know. Everybody's excited.
I really get excited. And honestly, I still don't know what color I'm gonna do my molds. I just don't know. That's the kind of thing where I kind of have to sit on it
Yeah.
for a few days and and then decide. You know what I decided I'm going to do? I am going to trim this. And work that in another piece. so excited.
Lourdes said, I'm mesmerized.
I know.
No, she's not doing it dry. The top 2 drawers are wet. The bottom 2 are hanging loose, and she's just saying that they're safe because those drawers beneath are dry. So she doesn't have to worry about it, like, sticking.
Okay. All right, so let me, I'm just going to take this and make sure that this is not sopping, okay? And I just want to press that into place.
Oh, I'm so excited for this.
I am too.
I love it.
Yeah, I am too. This is a little bit more of a tricky area right here, see, because I've got that ridge and then another ridge and then a paneled drawer or door here, or
That's
drawer.
a double ridge.
That is what you call, well, I would
Double
call
ridge
it
in the panel.
I would call it a triple ridge.
Wow.
I would.
Wow.
I don't think my paint was wet right there, so I'm going to squirt up in there. We do whatever we have to do. And again, if it doesn't completely,
And right there.
but again, if it's not completely adhered, I've got all that leftover inlay that I can reapply. And remember, this is going to be a very shabby kind of a look. That's what we're going for. That's why I really was not super careful with these. It has like kind of cracks here and there, and I want that very rustic, shabby look. That you know you're all dying for. So again, take the process slow. We can still see okay as I'm working my way down.
Yep.
Good.
Do you need to remove painter's tape to get the inlay to stick in those spots?
No,
Great question.
no, because I have used a brayer to really press that in place, and it's going to be just fine. Okay, so now let's think about how we want to approach this. My thought is that I'm going to cut this down to like here. So I'm going to cut this off. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it with my fingers here. Because I'm going to apply this piece separately. Okay, and then I want to, and honestly I should measure, but I'm not, so I want to, because I really don't care if it's perfect, so I'm going to go right to there.
Liz said, I'm asking a lot of questions because my mom wants me to attempt an inlay on the side tables and I'm nervous.
Well, where are you going to apply it, on the top of the side table? Because if that's the case, girl, that you got it made.
Yep, that's a great way to start. Right?
If you look back to like one of the first Basement Chronicles we did last year, I took a piece that had been sitting down here forever. It was a pale blue or like an aqua table.
Yep.
I'd had it at the cottage, and I just applied this inlay on the top of that, It was beautiful. Sold like instantly.
She says no on the sides.
Yeah, just do the top. I'm telling you, that is a perfect place to
No,
start.
she's on the sides.
Oh, on the sides?
Yeah.
Do the top first. Just do the top. Oh. Is there a drawer? Inquiring minds want to know. Now let's get our paint again. And I'm going to get a nice coat of our Apothecary on here. I normally pour my paint out, but I'm kind of almost to the end of these, so I'm not like too concerned about it. Mr. Mister is the best mister of any mister.
Yep.
And if I get a little bit on the pink, it's okay because I've got to paint a second coat on that anyway. And again, if it's on there, look, oh, uh-oh, whoops.
Mom.
Then guess what? I'll paint
all
paint
right.
over it anyway, and
That's a little.
it will all
right.
blend.
Jeez,
She's
that's going a little
dressing.
too far. Yes, you could lay it down on the side. I think that's a good idea. She said maybe I can talk her into doing the top.
Good idea. Okay, so let's get the white, and we kind of had that, so I don't want to...
Mom, where's that rolling seat from? Leah got it for you.
Leah got it for me. I think at Tractor Supply,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Either that or, what's that other big store like that has like all kinds of hunting stuff and...
Oh, I know what you mean.
What the heck is it called? Cabela's.
She didn't get it at Cabela's. Are you thinking of, it's another big place. There's one in Lockport. Not Tractor Supply, but...
Not Cabela's?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, what is it called?
I know, it's going to drive me crazy. Okay, so I'm just using this damp cloth to kind of blend a little bit here. It's not perfect. It doesn't have to be.
No, not DHS.
No, what is the name of it?
Harbor Freight.
That's
Thank
it. Harbor Freight. Okay, so I'm going
This
to...
everybody's screaming it.
Harbor Freight! Leah loves Harbor Freight too.
Yeah, she finds good stuff there.
She does. Hey, you guys, it's a lot easier to cut these strips out and apply them.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh my. Why didn't I do that up here?
Nobody knows.
Because I've never done this before.
When you know better,
You do better.
yes.
That's exactly right. And we want to make sure we've got the right thing happening here.
Corinne said that inlay is so romantic looking. A creator painted a vintage hutch with light green on the outside, white shelves, and this inlay on the back wall. It is absolutely adorable. I want to do it to mine.
I know. Doesn't it just make you want to completely like redo your house and these romantic, shabby colors? Honestly, I love the bright colors too. That's why I love my job. I mean, I have a certain preference for my own decor, but I kind of love it all. And I appreciate all styles. And I don't like to be boxed into a particular style either. And so it's really awesome when you get to do something like this and this is your job and you get to, like, hey, I might not put an orange dresser in my house with the Morocco on it, but it sure is going to be awesome, and I'm going to love working on it. So those of you that are creatives, you definitely, if you have a shop, if you've got, you know, a booth, you definitely need your own kind of style thing going on, because that's what identifies you. But it certainly is fun to change it up every now and then and try something that's really different, something that you would normally not do.
Mom, do you also link our Amazon lists in the
I
description?
do,
Okay,
yep.
great. That's where you can find it, Mary Jo. Also, do you have the link in our bio on Instagram?
I do.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
anywhere you find us, you can find a link
Yeah.
to our Amazon
Now
lists.
we don't have our look at my hand.
We should be getting a storefront soon, right? Now that we're
Well, we do. And that's linked. We've got that. Yeah, it's all linked on Instagram and down below. So what you can do is, again, it's going to take me a minute, like after this loads, to get my description in. I never get my description done ahead of time. But if you go to a previous video that I've done, all of it is listed there. Our text number, our phone number, where to reach us. If you have questions, our Amazon affiliate link, all of that is there.
I'm gonna add our Amazon affiliate link to our website as well.
Yes, I was going to do that, but I don't know how.
We'll add it. I think we can add it right, like with our phone number and all of our other good stuff.
Yeah, so try it. I think there's an app also. I don't know. You're going to have to look into that.
I will.
I'm just making sure that this all kind of lines up. If it overlaps a little, that's okay. In fact, I prefer that. If there's a little gap, that's okay. We're just going to say it's all okay. All right? And I would say, if you have never done an inlay, I mean, certainly the best thing to do would be to practice on a smaller piece. Like, don't do what I do and just straight up, like, do an entire dresser the first time you've ever taken an inlay out of the package. I mean, you can if you're the adventurous type. That's pretty cool, but it can be a little daunting and frustrating if it doesn't go completely the way that you expected it to. So it's nice to practice on something that is not quite so big and intimidating.
Michelle says, my little loose routine is I create 3 safe-ish pieces for the shop and 4th one for my creative part. That's a lovely way to do it. I would say that's kind of where we were at for a while too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Okay, I need to get a little paint down under this drawer edge here.
Down under.
Down under. Mate.
Sorry, Michelle.
I know.
I couldn't help myself.
We are so excited for Camp EJG. Oh my gosh. And Michelle's going to be here. Well, for all of you, Mary Jo's going to be here.
Yep.
You're all going to be, not all of you, but so many of you are going to be joining us in Medina, and it's going to be the best time. We're really, really excited.
Mom, you have a little bit of paint on your hand.
Do I?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's Debbie's DIY. It's perfectly.
As if it would matter.
It's just like 9 ingredients.
Yeah.
Including love.
And you were planning on dyeing your hands that color anyway, so
Exactly.
it's just a great little primer.
I will rinse them off shortly. Okay, I think this looks a little dry here, but oh, maybe not. Let me just throw a little something there. Okay, my next step, I have to take my Mr. Let me mist this all over to begin to set those paint pigments in place.
You'll get to the next one, Sandy.
You will.
There will be a next one.
And then I want you to just blot this with a clean cloth. Make sure you don't have any sopping excess water here.
She's coming for a whole week. Michelle is.
Yeah, and she's going to be in California for a while. And
Yeah.
Michelle, we need to take you to Niagara Falls.
That'd be fun. The Canadian side.
Yeah.
not the United States.
Okay, so there we go.
Welcome.
There we go. Okay, you guys, this is the part where I have to wash my hands. So if you have any questions or you need to say hi to Megan or
I'm leaving. I gotta
Oh,
go
you
get
are
my
leaving.
children, yes.
Isn't that time already?
It is. It is.
I really want to pull that off.
Okay. You're all set to go. I'll leave the tablet so you can kind of see what you
Okay.
look like, okay?
Sure, I'm going to put it, rinse my hands. Thank you. Okay, love you. Love you too. Actually, ask Laura if she would mind coming. Oh, I think she's in the middle of painting something.
Yeah. It's awful quiet up there.
What's that?
I said it's awful quiet up there.
It is awful quiet up there. Okay, hold up. I'm going to grab a hair dryer.
Oh, there she is. She's wondering if you help her alone.
Let me grab a hair dryer, you guys, and see if I can speed this along. I had it right here. Oh, Laura Jean, could you grab me a hair dryer?
And a hair dryer.
Thank you. Okay, so this, oh, here it is. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. I'm going to at least dry the top drawer. And we'll pull that back to see how it looks. But this is the stage of the process where it's important if you can let this sit for 3-4 days, a week before you take it off. I typically never blow dry it. I let it dry on its own. And I want to make sure that this is dry to the top. Wasn't this for Megan? Anybody have any questions? Okay. What's that? And then Stephanie says, that's where ADHD can come in handy. I'll walk off and forget my project that just painted and then come back and spend the time to dry. ADHD can also be a problem with this type of a project because we want it to be absolutely lined up and perfect, right? It could be a test of your willingness to kind of let go and have it be not so perfect. But oh yeah, I would be letting this dry and moving on to 16 other projects to try to do all at one time. It drives my husband crazy. Laura Jean, do you like do one project and then finish it, or do you always have a few different things? Yes. Yes.
Can't waste that precious time.
I know. Okay, you guys. I'm going to let the rest of that go. Now, sorry about that. I really hate having to blow dry, but I also don't want to stretch this out. Next week, I want to be able to put the finish on this and do the pretty details for you guys without having to pull off any more inlay. So it still feels just a little bit cold here, so I'm going to dry this one last time. Okay, fingers crossed, guys. Okay, so I have my Mr. I like this because one squirt and it doesn't just keep going and going and going and going. It has just a good stream that you can control. So I want to wet the inlay, and I got to tell you, with this blended look, it's throwing me off just a little bit because your inlays as they dry will fade back out again. And you see, I'm seeing that darker green and the pink and the white here. So you just want to be mindful of that. If you are doing it over a light color, how you just have to be extra sure that your inlay sheet is dry before you pull it off. So I am going to mist this, and then you'll see it goes back dark again. And remember, I sliced it here, so we don't need to worry about.
Oh, it just froze.
It did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, everybody's coming and saying it's frozen, and you're stuck on the camera here.
Oh, no. Well,
It says
that's...
we hear you, but...
Oh, because it says low battery. Sorry. Okay, here we are. We're back. We're back, you guys. Sorry about that. Okay. I have a low battery. I think it's time for me to get a new phone. That's been happening a lot lately. So I've misted it, and now I'm pulling it off. Save these. Oh, you guys.
Okay, I have a dumb question.
Sure.
You're saving those
Yeah.
for...
So these, you can get a second use out of these.
Okay.
Even though when you pull them off, it picks up some of that background paint color. So when you transfer it onto maybe a white piece, you'll get some of that pretty Apothecary, and some of the pink will be very, very faded in the background. And your next application of this is going to be pretty faded. Just so you know that. But I have used this as second application many times. I always get the best results when on second applications when I choose a white.
Patty Hogan said lovely. Irma said drool.
I know.
Sandy Roberts said just as beautiful as I thought it would be.
Oh my god, you guys, I'm literally like freaking out now. This is beautiful. Now, I can see here, remember I did this part all in one versus here I cut that piece. So I'm seeing a little bit of an area here. I don't know if I want to try to fix it. I think I want it very random and kind of shabby and scattered. Here I have a little bit of a line where my papers did not line up. So look what I'm doing. I just take my very favorite tool, my beautifully manicured fingernails, which are getting done today. They're gonna love digging all this chalk paint out of there. But there, I'm just kind of like scratching into that line to make it so it's not quite so obvious. And it just looks like it's kind of again, more distressed there. So what do you think? Are you gonna stick around for a minute? I can dry this and we'll take the bottom off, the bottom sheet off. Is that okay, everybody? Huh? It's beautiful. I'm gonna be using a lot of white wax on this too. And some dark wax. What is going on down here? You might need to just switch that camera down. Look, use that handle there, and then, yep, there you go. Beautiful. That's it. There's a lot of boxes coming in the back door. I've noticed that I'm starting to try this one now that I'm seeing this process live. Good. Good. Try it. You know what? We're always... I did a little bit of a reel yesterday, just when Tuesdays are my journaling days, and you know, it's a new page and I'm taking these lessons, and every single time I open up to that new page, it hits me like, oh my gosh, what am I going to put on this page? And it can paralyze us when we're looking at a blank project. We know that we're going to do this, but we're so afraid of it failing or not being perfect, right? We don't allow ourselves the process of maybe it's not going to be exactly what you thought it was going to be. Maybe it will develop over time into something different. But it's the same as painting a piece of furniture. If you're stuck, and very often I am, and so I will say, let's get it all prepped. I'm just going to base coat it, I'm going to prime it, or I'm going to base coat it white, or I'm going to base coat it dark. I might have a general idea, and then it'll sit for a few weeks. Then I might paint over it. There's nothing that is like set in stone with any of this. But if you don't try it, then you don't have the opportunity to succeed and also learn from your process. And I know it can be scary. It's scary for me. It's scary for me doing this in front of you when it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't done this in a long time in front of you guys. Well, here I go. And if I mess up, I mess up, you know? And I don't want to minimize that. Yes, we are mindful that you have a budget, that you don't want to do a project like this and have it waste a $46 inlay. But I would say this, I would pay $65 to take a class and learn, right? So you're kind of teaching yourself by watching us do it and then trying it yourself.
And the cool thing, I think, like with journaling, painting, all this, there's so many steps and layers that you can't just go by the first thing that you do, because it's just going to keep evolving and evolving.
You're exactly right, Laura Jean. And I have said for many years, it's like, when someone may ask, like, ooh, well, boy, that's awful, I don't know if I like that color or whatever, but it's like, you take a breath, because it's like when you put your makeup on. If you were to only put your lipstick on and face the world, what is everybody going to see? Wow, you have bright lips. But we don't have the rest of it done. So this is only, this is only the second step of this whole finishing process. My paint and then my inlay. I've still got some blending and distressing of this and then finishing with wax. So we have to enjoy it. Take some time and really enjoy the process and let it develop over time. I mentioned, at the beginning that, there were people that want to know, what color are you going to paint the molds? I don't know. I still don't know. I won't know until, I don't know, maybe next week when we finish this off. I'm just not sure. Maybe it'll hit me and I won't be able to wait, and I just I'll get inspired and I just want to do it. So I don't know. We just kind of let it evolve, and if I painted this the wrong color or an unappealing color to me, I can paint over it. It's okay. Every layer that you put down, every step of this is part of the story that you tell about the furniture art that you are creating. So, guess what, you guys? I really love this. I love it. I'm going to try to bring the camera up just a little closer, and before we lose our battery, because I want you to see up close some of the texture. I get questions a lot about how do you keep the wrinkles out of the paint when you apply the inlay. I think it's just a matter of preference. I love the wrinkles when I'm working with chalk paint. I love that. It's to me, it just adds one more dimension of patina and character to that piece.
So I have to tell you, Vintage Magnolia said, I'm actually preferring the variation of the imperfect faint roses in areas on the surface. It really suits the Finland better than perfect and uniform with the style.
I think so too. It has that very shabby kind of a look. I love the white and the pink I'm seeing. I'm looking through the camera just like you guys are, and I know we're going long here, but I just wanted you to see this, and I think we are headed in the right direction. So let me quickly get off of here. This went much longer than I had expected. Thank you for hanging out with us. If you did stay with us, you can always go back and rewind and fast forward through all the talk or whatever, but these resources are here for you to learn. You don't have to come and take a class from me. You can do it right on YouTube, and be willing to try a small project. Lourdes, do that tabletop. I cannot wait to see what you have to say about what happens. So thank you for watching. And again, if you're here with us still and you have not subscribed or left us a comment or given us a little thumbs up, we would sure appreciate it. It is one way that you can support us without spending a dime. Have a great rest of the week. We will see you on Friday up in the studio. Bye.